Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the Saline City Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. Will the recording secretary please call the roll?
Young.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Fosdick.
Here.
Morrow is absent. Gearbaugh.
Here.
Heft.
Here.
Lafort. Here.
Staff present tonight are Community Development Director Atkin and Recording Secretary Katnick. I would like to make an amendment to the agenda to include 10 minutes for applicant developer comments after acknowledging receipt under public hearing number 2508. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended unless there are additional amendments?
Approved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion on the table to approve the meeting minutes of May 14th, 2025 as submitted?
Second. Or move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Under the Open Meetings Act, any citizen may come forward at this time and make comments. The person is requested but not required to state their name and address for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no public comments, we will start with the public hearing number 25-08, application from Pinnacle Express Holdings, LLC for a special land use to permit an automobile maintenance and repair facility at a portion of 1415 Industrial Drive, Saline, Michigan, 48176, parcel number 18-12-30-451-014, a portion of unaddressed parcel number 18-12-30-451-990, and unaddressed parcel 18-12-30-451-011. In our packet, we had a memo dated June 3rd, 2025 from Community Development Director Atkin.
Okay, so this one has a lot of moving pieces to it. If you go back to the back of the packet where the 11x17 fold-outs are, we can start there just to give a little lay of the land. There's one full parcel included in this and portions of the other. So if you go to, I guess it'd be the second page, it has an outline of the parcels that are involved. So the yellow dashed outline in the blue portion to the top, that is city-owned property that we currently have a purchase and development agreement with the applicant for. So the blue area will remain in the city. That is identified as a wetland by the DEQ back in the day, but now Eagle. So the yellow 3.86 acres is in the development agreement. So is the 0.3 acres, which is part of another piece of city-owned property that is 13 acres. So the 13.7 acres stays with the city at the 0.3, and then the 4.96 acres is privately owned, and they have a purchase agreement with the owner of that currently. So the purpose of them purchasing the property to the north, the 1415, is to have access along off of Industrial Drive there. It's 50 feet wide or so. Yeah. I can't remember. So they can get an access drive in there. What Mr. Feynman, he's across the street up on the curve there. He leases property and runs his, is it logistics? Is that more or less?
We run aviation fuel wholesale company out of Saline and Pinnacle Express Logistics.
Fleet of semi-trucks, and so that's what this development is going to be for. Now in the ordinance, it doesn't state for tractor trailers, it's just automobile repair, maintenance, which is the closest we could fit it to, which is a special use in the I-2 district. This is not going to be open to the public. This is strictly for his business alone, nobody else. And up front there, about the 5,000 square foot office building, which will be Pinnacle's.
More Aero Energy.
Aero Energy's headquarters and offices, and then the 10,000 square foot building in the back will be, majority of it will be for indoor maintenance on the fleet trucks with an office on the north side there. So there are utilities available out in Industrial Drive. All utilities are available, public utilities. So this site plan, sketch site plan, it's not a full preliminary, not really necessary at this point, because without special land use approval, it doesn't make sense for them to spend the time and the money to put together a full preliminary with the utilities and everything that goes with it until they know for sure what's going to happen. So property's a lot bigger than it looks. I think it's close to 10 acres once it's all put together.
Yeah, right around there with the wetlands.
9.12 acres. So they have been working. There's a crossing back in there about right at where it says Energy Way. Right at the corner there, there's a wetland or a crossing. They've been working with Eagle to get that permitted. I think you've submitted some designs. But for the most part, with the exception of what's listed in the back there with the asphalt millings, everything fits on the site. You know, there's gonna have to be probably some little more care taken on this property at the time of development, and then type of operation. With the wetlands that are around there, they have over the course of their due diligence gone through and they delineated the wetlands. What they came out with and what we show when this was platted, it's pretty much that northern line there on the city property of what they're going to be purchasing is a delineation line for that. So in a nutshell.
Okay. I do have a question about the asphalt millings adjacent to a wetland. That's typically a no-go. I noticed that you had made a comment about changing it to asphalt or impervious surface instead of the millings.
In the zoning ordinance, any parking or drive lanes have to be impervious surface, either asphalt, concrete, or I think it said brick or blocker or something of the sorts.
Will we be expecting a change for that as part of the preliminary plan or combined final site plan?
I had a discussion with Joe, the designer, the engineer, on Friday. I believe he's going to propose possible phase development for that. This is a little bit different than what the original, plan was that they put together. It was a sketch plan just showing they had a cul-de-sac in the back. So, I'll discuss that. And with phase development, each phase gets a 365-day time limit on it, and there's bonds that are put forth for each phase of it to be be developed in that time frame.
Okay. Thank you. Questions for Community Development Director Atkin? Yes.
The back looks like a parking lot. Is that just for truck storage?
That'd be just for his fleet trucks, correct? Yes. And I did recommend, because that is visible from that section there of Industrial Drive, and then it also from Woodland Drive there, just to add some additional buffer, because between there and the railroad track, it's wide open. But yes, that's his fleet.
Any questions?
The one thing here too is that because a lot of this wetland surrounds this, it's still subject to final approval by Eagle, correct? So some of this could change.
They're going to have to go through all, especially for the crossing. I did put that in there for as a condition that at the time of final site plan or before even permits are issued, that they submit the certification or permits or whatever it is that Eagle gives out for approval.
So will this be the plan that goes to council for the special approval or something slightly different?
This will be what goes for special approval at this point, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is, tonight's approvals for the special land use, no site plan. I mean, whether they choose to combine preliminary and final, that is yet to be determined. They'll still have to go through engineering and everything else.
Yeah, just because council has a tendency to look at this before the real final solution, and just want to make sure we clarify that.
There is some conflicting information in the ordinance about what is required at the time of site plan approval, or excuse me, for special land use approval. It refers to the section on preliminary and calls out for a full-blown preliminary site plan, which traditionally for special land use, conditional land use, or adaptive use, or what have you, it's until they have permission. They're, it's basically got to put the boxes on within the property lines to show it works.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Is there a motion on the table to acknowledge the receipt of the memo dated June 3rd, 2025 from Community Development Director Atkin?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. We'll open it up for applicant developer comments, limited to 10 minutes per person, 10 minutes total. If you'd like to come up and speak.
Don't need to.
You don't need to. It's just we're affording you the opportunity in case there's anything you'd like to say.
Yeah, make sure the green light is illuminated at the base of that mic.
I just want to introduce myself, Craig Feynman. I've been in Saline most of my life. Graduated at Saline High and been working in the aviation fuel wholesale business, trucking business in Ann Arbor, leads in Ann Arbor, non-industrial drive, but looking to consolidate that, get some more employees into Saline District and out of Pittsfield Township. Just want to see if I can make this go, do it the right way.
Thank you.
Joe White with JW Civil Works. I would add, Mr. Atkin brought up the asphalt millings, and that's something that we're hopeful that we could work through with Eagle and the other approving bodies, just because there's a significant amount of parking area, and we're fearful that maybe if it has to be a hard surface, it becomes cost prohibitive. And we're just looking at those options as, can we make this work on the property financially and still comply with environmental concerns, and I know that it would potentially require a variance or a waiver, but something that I would hope that we could still keep on the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our applicant or developer?
Madam Chair, I move to open the public hearing at 7:13, affording the public an opportunity to speak.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Seeing no public comments, seeing nobody in the audience, I will move to close the public comment period at 7:14.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Comments, questions from Planning Commission members, either for Community Development Director Atkin or to our applicant developer. Yes, Mr. Gearbox.
I appreciate you working with our Community Development Director and assembling this property, because even for us, it was a benefit to put it back on the tax rolls, and glad that this plan could work out this way. I believe the issue related to the millings and everything is an Eagle call, not our city, correct? So however that plays out, I mean, I know from our perspective and our environmental approach, we're going to probably be really close on their heels to make sure that they follow the proper protocols.
Yeah, the planning commission, for any parking area or drive area, doesn't allow the planning commission to make any determination or any leeway there. So the options would be a non-use variance or phase development at this stage. As I talked to Joe, I don't anticipate that a use variance would go through, just because this self-created financial issues can't be considered. There's, the property is unique, but it's not prohibitive to paving it or having impervious surface. As far as the buildings go, with runoff, and once, compromise asphalt's a petroleum product, and once those bonds are broken and rain or any sort of runoff with wetlands around there, it just increases the chance of potential contamination of the area. So that's, definitely a conversation to have with Eagle. But from this board's standpoint, or, what they're allowed to do legally, they can't offer the variance just the phased type development.
And perhaps maybe we can look at, from our own perspective of community development and land enhancement, things and such that come out of that industrial park, to see if we can assist with maybe the cost of what is being considered.
Yes, this actually, that parcel, the 1415 parcel, is part of the LDFA, so there might be some resource there.
We could look at either that through abatement or whatever kind of thing, because in the past we have done that.
Yeah.
So if it would help to avoid that concern of the millings and such, I think we should look into that kind of assistance. So
Of course, yes.
we'll mention that at council too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I apologize for my tardiness. Were there conditions recommended on the subsequent motion to approve or not to approve?
We have not offered that motion yet. So there are items to address that are on page 5 of 7 of our memo, but there were no conditions that were enumerated as part of our packet.
Okay, so Mr. Atkins, you don't recommend any conditions on the motion to approve?
No conditions other than the buffer along the northwest property line between the parking area and the railroad track.
So is that a condition?
Yes, it's hard to determine where it would fall under in the landscape ordinance, since it's not a public parking lot, but it is visible from a right of way. So
Okay, so how would you state that as an addendum to the motion?
just as a condition.
Okay.
Would you,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
With the number of parking spaces that you have around the maintenance building then to the northwest there, is that necessity from the get-go, or is that something that can kind of be?
It would be overflow for rigs coming in and out of Illinois and what have you, but we'd probably, downsize that area out there so it's not visible at all from, looking at it from flat out Brett is the only place you can see that portion, looking through the woods. Look at that, but
I ask because I know when we discussed, I said just put everything on there, whether or not it's going to be built right now or sometime in the future, not necessarily as phased, so you don't have to come back and get an amendment to the special land use. But if you know how many spaces you might need in the back there, you don't necessarily.
how many there, what's showing on, I don't have the drawing.
3, I believe. We had 12 on one side, 11 on the.
23.
That's a few, that was just asking for everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
that could also be designated as deferred parking in the future, that you don't need it right now, but if it gets to the point where you need some additional, that you can put it on there. So I just looked at this as everything's going to be built or installed at the same time. So again,
Yep. And that's the intention that, I'd like to get to, is just, financials, burden of putting all that, developing that piece of property. I mean, it's chopped up and there's wetlands on it, and a lot of topographical back there, so.
yeah, for the most part, that portion of the property that they're going to purchase from the city, especially on 1415, that's the only developable area up there. Everything else is pretty low.
Chris?
Yes.
It looks like there's quite a bit of land on each side of the office. Is it possible to move the office one way or the other and then put the parking in that lower parcel?
When you say office, the 5,000 square foot,
Right.
there's some wetlands in there, and I believe that they want to keep as much as the natural vegetation that's there for buffer. Where the office is, I think it's pretty close to the highest point between basically the road and the maintenance, and that's why they chose that location.
Okay. So there's no way to put more parking spaces up in that?
Without a lot of red tape with Eagle. A lot more than what they're going to be facing.
Okay.
I'm going to jump back to my question, because maybe I'm being obtuse. So there's one condition then, and it pertains to the buffering.
Yeah, is conditional approval agreed to
Okay.
put the landscaping in there. If, I guess at this point, if they decide that they're going to use that now or eventually, if they put it in later, then they would require.
I'll make the motion then to approve with that one added condition.
Second?
Additional discussion.
Sorry, I just want to clarify, now I don't understand. So all these items to address, they just don't, they're items to address, but they don't have to be addressed at this stage, or things to be considered, or just like limitations or conditions right now, because it's just special land use?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
but except for the buffer.
Yeah, the buffer, I itemized them, so for the stages, like this is going to be needed in the final site plan. These are things to, just discussion topics.
Okay.
More for clarification, but right now, we just want to see if the boxes fit within the property, the type of use. Even with the maintenance, they're going to have to get, special type of floor drains that are need containment systems for any fluids that are really, basically anything that you'd see in a place where you go get the oil change, similar to that.
If the overflow parking is not constructed or does not make it to preliminary or final site plan, is there a need for a landscape buffer?
At this point, no.
Okay. So as long as it's on this plan, we need to require it as a condition.
They don't want to put the parking in right now. We can just put that as deferred parking. That way they don't have to come back for an amendment if necessary.
Thank you. Additional questions? All right, we have a motion on the table to move by Mayor Morrow, seconded by Mr. Gearba, to approve with the conditions of the landscape buffer for the special land use portion of 1415 Industrial Drive, Saline, Michigan 48176. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. There's no new business. Are there any discussion items?
Make a comment. This would be a recommendation to, unless I didn't hear, recommendation to.
Okay, then we're going to do this again. Mayor Morrow, is this okay if you?
Yeah, Mayor, go ahead.
Okay, recommend for a recommendation to approve to City Council with the special, with the one condition. Okay, good. So moved by Morrow, second by Gearba. Additional discussion. We're okay with this? Okay. Let's do this again. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, no absences tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn at 7:24? Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.